The silver probe moved through space like a silent ghost, its sensors scanning the third planet from the yellow star. Inside the Zephyrian command ship, 3 alien officers watched the data stream across their screens. Commander Vextal clicked, his mandibles in satisfaction as the numbers appeared. Another primitive world, he said to his crew. These humans have barely left their home planet. Look at this data. The screen showed Earth's orbital stations spinning slowly around the blue world. A few mining ships worked near the moon, and some basic vessels moved between the inner planets. Nothing impressive, nothing dangerous. Sir, should we report this as a Class C civilization? Asked his science officer, her tentacles twitching over the control panel. Yes, definitely Class C, maybe even Class D. They're using simple fusion, power and basic metal ships, no energy shields, no quantum drives, they can't even leave their star system. Vextal made a note in his report. The Zephyrian Empire will need maybe 50 ships to take this world. Standard intimidation protocol. 3 billion miles away on a hidden base built inside the asteroid Ceres, Captain Jake Morrison watched his screens with interest. His sensors had detected the alien probe hours ago, but he let it scan freely. Better to let the visitors see what they expected to see. Sir, the alien probe is focusing on our civilian installations, reported Lieutenant Kate Morgan from her station. It's completely ignoring the outer system defense grid. Jake smiled. The defense grid was invisible to most sensors, hidden inside what looked like ordinary asteroids and ice chunks. 60 years of secret construction had created the most powerful military network in human history, but the aliens saw only mining equipment and research stations. Good. Let them think we're helpless. Send a coded message to Admiral Paul Richards on Earth. Tell him our visitors are taking the bait. On Earth, Dr. Lisa Parker studied the strange signals her team had intercepted. The alien transmissions were in a complex language, but human computers were getting better at translation. What she read made her blood run cold. Admiral Richards, you need to see this immediately, she said over the secure communication link. The aliens are classifying us as a primitive civilization. They're planning some kind of military action. Admiral Richards looked at the translated message on his screen. Terms like subjugation protocol and minimal resistance expected jumped out at him. He had been preparing for this day for 20 years, ever since humanity first detected signs of alien civilizations in nearby star systems. Dr. Parker, how long until they make their move? Based on their transmission patterns, I estimate they'll send a fleet within 2 weeks. Sir, they have no idea what they're walking into, do they? Richards smiled grimly. No, they don't. Project Hidden Thunder has been our best-kept secret. Time to wake up our sleeping fleet. Across the solar system, hidden bases received coded signals. Inside hollowed-out asteroids, massive ships powered up their engines for the first time in years. These weren't the simple metal vessels the aliens had observed. These were quantum tunnel-capable warships, armed with plasma cannons and dimensional torpedoes that could tear holes in space itself. Captain Steve Collins felt his ship, the UES Phantom, come alive around him. The stealth destroyer had been his home for 3 years, waiting in the cold darkness beyond Neptune's orbit. Now her fusion cores hummed with power, and her weapon systems ran final checks. All stations report ready, sir, announced his weapons officer. Quantum tunnel drive is online. We can be anywhere in the system in 30 seconds. Excellent. Signal the fleet. Operation Thunder is now active. 2 weeks later, exactly as Dr. Parker had predicted, 50 alien ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. They moved in a tight formation, their hulls gleaming with the confidence of a superior civilization. Commander Vextal stood on his bridge, watching the primitive human world grow larger on his screen. Open communications to all human frequencies, he ordered. Time to deliver our standard message. The transmission went out across every human communication channel. Vextal's voice, translated into English by alien computers, carried across Earth's networks. Primitive humans of the third planet. I am Commander Vextal of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world has been selected for incorporation into our civilization. You have 1 solar rotation to surrender all military assets and prepare for occupation. Resistance is futile and will result in the destruction of your cities. Respond immediately. In the command center of Earth's Stellar Defense Command, Admiral Richards listened to the message with several other senior officers. When it finished, the room fell silent for a moment. "Sir, should we respond?" asked Commander Amy Sullivan, his intelligence chief. Richards looked at the tactical display showing the 50 alien ships moving slowly toward Earth. His own display showed something the aliens couldn't see. Hundreds of human ships positioned throughout the system, all invisible to alien sensors. "Yes, we'll respond. Open a channel." The transmission reached the alien fleet within minutes. Admiral Richards' voice was calm and professional as it played on the bridge of every Zephyrian ship. "Unknown vessels. This is Admiral Paul Richards, of the Terran Defense Force. You have entered our solar system without permission and made threats against our people. You have 30 minutes to withdraw from Terran space before we consider your presence an act of war. This is your only warning." On the Zephyrian command ship, several officers made clicking sounds that passed for laughter among their species. Commander Vextal waved a dismissive tentacle at the communication console. "Ignore their primitive threats. These humans think their simple weapons can challenge the Zephyrian Empire. Continue on course to their homeworld. Prepare intimidation bombardment of their orbital stations." What Vextal couldn't see were the quantum signatures building throughout the solar system. In hidden bases from Mercury to Pluto, human ships charged their tunnel drives and prepared to decloak. The trap that humanity had spent 60 years building was about to spring shut. As the alien fleet passed the orbit of Mars, still confident in their superiority, they had no idea they were entering the most dangerous region of space in the galaxy. Every asteroid, every chunk of ice, every piece of space debris had been carefully positioned and equipped. The humans weren't primitive at all. They were patient hunters who had been waiting for prey to walk into their web. In 30 minutes, the Zephyrian Empire would learn the most expensive lesson in their history. Earth was not a helpless world, waiting to be conquered. It was a fortress that had been preparing for war since before most of the alien crew members had been born. The countdown began, and humanity prepared to show the galaxy what happened when someone made the mistake of underestimating Earth. The 30 minutes passed like hours on the Zephyrian command ship. Commander Vextal watched his tactical display as his fleet moved closer to the human homeworld. No sign of resistance appeared on his screens. The few human vessels his sensors detected were simple cargo ships and mining equipment. Exactly what he expected from a primitive civilization. "Sir, we're now within optimal bombardment range of their orbital stations," reported his weapons officer. "Should we begin the intimidation attack?" Vextal studied the pathetic human defenses one more time. A few small orbital platforms, some communication satellites, and what looked like basic defense turrets that probably fired simple projectiles. Nothing that could threaten his advanced ships. "Begin the attack. Target their largest orbital station first. Use minimum power settings. We want them to surrender, not turn their planet into debris." The first Zephyrian energy beam lanced out toward Earth's orbital station Alpha. But before it could reach its target, something impossible happened. The beam simply vanished, absorbed by a shimmering energy field that appeared around the station. "What was that?" Vextal demanded. His science officer's tentacles moved frantically over her controls. "Sir, the humans have energy shields, but that's impossible. Our scans showed no advanced technology." Before Vextal could respond, his ship's alarm systems began screaming. All around his fleet, space itself seemed to tear open as dozens of human ships emerged from quantum tunnels. These weren't the simple vessels his scouts had observed. These were sleek, deadly warships that appeared directly behind his formation. Captain Steve Collins stood on the bridge of the UES Phantom as his ship materialized from quantum space. Around him, 30 other stealth destroyers decloaked simultaneously, their hulls crackling with energy as their weapon systems powered up. "All ships, this is Phantom Lead. Execute Thunder Protocol Alpha. Target their engines first. We want some of them alive to tell the story." Lieutenant Kate Morgan's fingers danced over her weapon controls. The plasma cannons on the Phantom had been charged and ready for this moment for 3 years. She locked onto the nearest Zephyrian cruiser and fired. The blue-white plasma bolt struck the alien ship's rear section with devastating effect. The Zephyrians' shields, designed to deflect primitive projectile weapons, offered no protection against superheated plasma that burned at temperatures found inside stars. The alien cruiser's engine section simply vaporized. Across the battle zone, human ships unleashed hell on the surprised alien fleet. Quantum torpedoes, existing in multiple dimensions at once, passed through Zephyrian shields as if they weren't there. Plasma cannons turned alien hull metal into glowing vapor. Dimensional mines created tiny black holes that pulled entire enemy ships into oblivion. "This is impossible," Vextal shouted as his own ship shuddered under human weapons fire. "They're using technology that shouldn't exist." His tactical officer was barely keeping up with the destruction. "Sir, we've lost 18 ships in the first minute. Their weapons are somehow bypassing our shields completely. And their ships, they're appearing and disappearing at will." The human strategy was brutally simple. Strike hard, strike fast, and never stay in one place long enough for the enemy to target effectively. Human ships would appear, fire devastating volleys, then vanish back into quantum space before the aliens could respond. Commander Dan Brooks coordinated the outer system defense grid from his hidden base in the asteroid belt. His screen showed the battle unfolding exactly as human strategists had planned for decades. Grid stations Alpha through Zulu. Activate Phase 2. Light them up. Throughout the asteroid belt, what the aliens had thought were simple mining stations revealed their true nature. Massive defense platforms emerged from hollowed-out asteroids, their weapon arrays tracking the surviving Zephyrian ships. These platforms had been under construction for 40 years, armed with the most powerful weapons humanity could build. The aliens found themselves caught between the mobile human fleet and the fixed defenses. Wherever they turned, more human weapons appeared. Energy beams that could cut through alien armor like paper, missiles that could track targets through hyperspace, minefields that activated the moment alien ships approached. Major Helen Torres led her squadron of experimental fighters in strafing runs against the alien formation. Her ship was no bigger than a shuttle, but it carried weapons that could cripple ships 50 times its size. The new quantum pulse cannons fired bursts of pure energy that disrupted alien shield generators on a fundamental level. Torres to all, "Fighters, concentrate fire on their command ship. Big ugly one in the center, let's cut the head off this snake." 12 human fighters dove toward Vextal's flagship, their weapons blazing. The alien point defense systems, designed to stop large missiles and energy beams, couldn't track targets as small and fast as the human fighters. Quantum pulse blasts hammered the command ship's shields until they collapsed completely. On the Zephyrian bridge, chaos reigned. Sparks flew from damaged control panels and the lights flickered as the ship's power systems failed. Vextal stared at his tactical display in horror as more of his ships disappeared from the screen. "How many ships have we lost?" he demanded. 37 destroyed, sir. 8 more are crippled and drifting. The humans they're not fighting like any primitive species we've ever encountered. They're using tactics and weapons that match our best military academies." The truth was starting to dawn on Vextal. The humans hadn't been caught by surprise. They had been ready. More than ready. They had been waiting. This wasn't a desperate defense by a primitive civilization. This was a carefully planned military operation by people who understood exactly what they were doing. "Sir, incoming transmission from the human fleet," his communications officer reported. Admiral Richards' voice filled the Zephyrian bridge, calm and professional despite the battle raging around them. "Zephyrian fleet, this is Admiral Richards. You now have 2 options. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded, or continue fighting and be destroyed. You have 60 seconds to decide." Vextal looked at his remaining ships. Of the 50 vessels that had entered the human system with such confidence, only 12 were still capable of fighting. The humans had destroyed 2/3 of his fleet in less than 10 minutes. "Sir, we have to surrender," his tactical officer said quietly. "We're completely outmatched. These aren't primitive humans. They're more advanced than we are." Around the command ship, the surviving Zephyrian vessels began powering down their weapons. One by one, they transmitted surrender codes that human computers recognized and accepted. Captain Collins watched from the Phantom's bridge as the alien ships gave up the fight. His crew was cheering, but he remained focused on the tactical situation. All human ships maintained defensive positions. Board the alien vessels according to protocol. I want their computers secured and their crews questioned. We need to know how many more are coming. As human boarding parties secured the surviving alien ships, Dr. Lisa Parker received her first samples of Zephyrian technology. What she found in their computers made her hands shake with excitement and fear. The Zephyrian Empire controlled 12 star systems and had been expanding for over 2 centuries. They had conquered dozens of primitive worlds using the same tactics they had just tried on Earth. But they had never encountered resistance like this. More importantly, they would certainly send a larger fleet when these ships failed to report. The first battle was over, and humanity had won completely. But as Admiral Richards studied the captured alien data, he knew this was just the beginning. The real test was still coming. The news of the First Fleet's destruction reached the Zephyrian homeworlds like a thunderbolt. High Commander Zex Nall of the Imperial War Council stood before the gathered representatives of 12 alien species, his forearms trembling with rage and humiliation. 50 ships destroyed by primitives, he said, his voice echoing in the great chamber. This cannot be allowed to stand. If word spreads that a single primitive world defeated our forces, every conquered species will think they can rebel against us. The council chamber buzzed with alien voices speaking in different languages. Some demanded immediate revenge. Others questioned how accurate their intelligence had been. But all agreed on one point. The humans could not be allowed to embarrass the Empire again. We will send the Grand Armada, Zex Nall announced. 300 ships from all 12 worlds. Every type of vessel we have. The humans will face the full might of the Zephyrian Empire. 3 weeks later, the largest military fleet in Zephyrian history assembled at the edge of human space. Massive dreadnoughts that could crack planets floated alongside swift cruisers and deadly destroyer squadrons. Fighter carriers brought thousands of small attack craft. This was a force designed to conquer entire star systems, not just single worlds. Admiral Kex Vorth commanded the armada from his flagship, the Dominator. He had studied the reports from the first battle carefully. The humans had used surprise and deception to win, but they wouldn't catch him off guard. His fleet would advance slowly and carefully, ready for any tricks. Begin the advance, he ordered. All ships maintain formation. Deploy scout drones ahead of us. If the humans want to play games with cloaked ships, we'll be ready. But as the massive alien fleet entered the solar system, they found something strange. The system appeared almost empty. No defending fleets waited to meet them. No obvious military preparations were visible. Even the orbital stations around Earth seemed to have been abandoned. Sir, our sensors detect only minimal activity, reported the fleet's intelligence officer. A few civilian ships moving between planets, some industrial operations, no sign of the military forces that destroyed our first fleet. Admiral Kex Vorth studied his display suspiciously. This feels wrong. The humans fought like experienced warriors last time. They wouldn't just abandon their homeworld. Keep scanning. There has to be something we're missing. Unknown to the aliens, they were passing through the largest military trap ever constructed. For 60 years, human engineers had been seeding space throughout the solar system with invisible mines, quantum phase explosives that existed partially outside normal space, making them impossible to detect with conventional sensors. Admiral Rick Barnes watched the alien fleet from his command center on the moon. His tactical displays showed the key 300 enemy ships moving slowly toward Earth, completely unaware of the death field they were crossing. All mind controllers prepare for activation, he said quietly into his communicator. Wait for my signal. We want them deep in the field before we spring the trap. The alien advance continued for 2 hours. They maintained tight formations, exactly as their military doctrine required. This was perfect for what Admiral Barnes had planned. The mines had been positioned to take advantage of standard Zephyrian fleet tactics. Captain Linda Hayes stood on the bridge of the battlecruiser UES Defiant, hidden behind Jupiter's largest moon. Around her, the entire human home fleet waited, in quantum tunnel space, ready to appear instantly anywhere in the solar system. "Ma'am, the aliens are now at optimal minefield density," reported her tactical officer. "Admiral Barnes is requesting confirmation that all fleet units are ready for immediate deployment." Linda looked at her crew. These men and women had trained their entire lives for this moment. The defense of humanity itself depended on what happened in the next few minutes. "Signal all ships. We are go for Operation Thunderstorm." Back on the alien flagship, Admiral Kexvorth was beginning to feel more confident. His fleet had advanced halfway to Earth without encountering any resistance. Perhaps the humans really had fled, or maybe their first victory had been pure luck. "Sir, we're receiving strange energy readings from various points around the fleet," his science officer reported. "Very faint quantum signatures, but I can't identify the source." Before Kexvorth could respond, space around his fleet exploded into light. Thousands of quantum mines activated simultaneously. Each explosion tore holes in space itself, creating tiny storms of destructive energy that consumed everything within a 100-meter radius. The alien fleet, caught in perfectly organized formations, had no room to maneuver as the mines detonated in carefully planned patterns. "All ships, evasive action," Kexvorth screamed, but it was too late. The minefield had been designed by human, tactical computers using captured Zephyrian fleet manuals. Every possible escape route had been blocked. Every formation the aliens might use had been accounted for. As explosions rippled through the alien fleet, ships collided with each other trying to escape the coordinated destruction. In the first 30 seconds, over 100 alien vessels were destroyed or crippled, but the trap was just beginning. As the surviving aliens struggled to regroup, the human home fleet materialized around them. Massive dreadnoughts appeared from quantum space, their weapon batteries already charged and targeted. The UES Defiant led the assault, her plasma cannons tearing through alien hulls like paper. Commander Tony Mitchell's reconnaissance ships appeared behind the alien fleet, cutting off their retreat. His ships were smaller and faster than the main battle fleet, designed to hunt down any enemies that tried to escape. "All recon units, pattern Delta 7. Don't let any of them reach hyperspace. We can't have survivors reporting back to their empire." The battle became a massacre. Human ships operating with perfect coordination through quantum-entangled communications systematically destroyed the alien fleet. Every human captain knew exactly where every other human ship was located. They moved like parts of a single vast machine, each attack perfectly timed to support the others. Colonel Sam Johnson led his Marine boarding teams against the few alien ships that surrendered. His soldiers moved through alien corridors with practiced efficiency, securing computer cores and capturing crew members for interrogation. "Priority 1 is their navigation computers," he told his teams over the radio. "We need to know the locations of all their homeworlds." Admiral Kexvorth watched his fleet die around him. Ship after ship disappeared from his tactical display as human weapons found their targets. The humans weren't just fighting, they were demonstrating complete tactical superiority. Every move his remaining ships made seemed to be anticipated and countered instantly. "Sir, we've lost over 200 ships," his tactical officer reported, his voice shaking with shock. "The humans are using weapons and tactics we've never seen before. They're fighting like they've been planning this battle for decades." The truth was even worse than the officer imagined. Humanity had been preparing for this exact scenario since they first detected alien civilizations. Every battle plan had been rehearsed thousands of times in computer simulations. Every weapon had been tested and perfected. Every strategy had been designed to counter known alien tactics. As the last alien fighters were hunted down and destroyed, Admiral Barnes received reports from across the solar system. Of the 300 ships in the Zephyrian Grand Armada, fewer than 20 had survived to surrender. The most powerful military force in alien history had been completely annihilated in less than 4 hours. But as human crews celebrated their victory, intelligence officers were already studying the captured alien computers. What they found made their celebrations turn to grim determination. The Zephyrian Empire controlled 12 star systems and billions of aliens. When this fleet failed to return, they would know that Earth represented a threat to their entire civilization. The next phase of the war would not be fought in Earth's solar system. It would be fought at the alien homeworlds themselves. The Zephyrian High Council sat in emergency session as reports flooded in from across their empire. 2 fleets had been sent to conquer a primitive world called Earth. Neither had returned. Worse, their final transmissions spoke of impossible human technology and devastating defeats. Supreme Chancellor Kexdal, leader of the 12-world empire, stood before the assembled representatives. His 6 eyes showed the fear that gripped the alien leadership. "The humans have destroyed our Grand Armada," he announced. 300 ships gone. We face a threat unlike any in our empire's history. The council chamber erupted in panic. Representatives from 12 different species shouted in their native languages. Some demanded immediate peace negotiations. Others called for the evacuation of border worlds. All understood that their empire now faced its greatest crisis. "Prepare the home defense fleets," Kexdal ordered. "Recall all ships from occupied territories. The humans may be planning to attack our worlds directly, but the aliens were already too late." Even as they spoke, human fleets were emerging from quantum space near their home systems. Fleet Admiral Bob Carter stood on the bridge of the flagship UES Constitution, watching as his massive fleet materialized around the Zephyrian capital world. Around him, 200 human warships appeared from quantum tunnels simultaneously, their hulls gleaming with the confidence of certain victory. "Admiral, all fleet units report ready for combat operations," announced Captain Mary Thompson, his chief of staff. "The other 11 fleets have reached their target systems and are awaiting your signal." Bob nodded grimly. Operation Thunderbolt was humanity's answer to alien aggression. 12 simultaneous attacks on 12 alien homeworlds. The Zephyrian Empire would learn what happened when they threatened Earth. "Begin the operation. All fleets are authorized to commence hostilities." The human strategy was brutally simple. Strike every important target at once so fast that the aliens couldn't coordinate a defense. Destroy their military capabilities before they could mount any resistance. Force them to surrender through overwhelming demonstration of human power. On the Zephyrian capital world below, alarm screamed across the planet as human ships appeared in their skies. The aliens had never experienced an attack on their home system. For 2 centuries, they had been the ones doing the attacking. Commander Jeff Davis led the assault on the alien orbital defenses. His squadron of heavy cruisers moved through the enemy positions like sharks through a school of fish. The Zephyrian defense platforms, designed to fight other aliens using familiar technology, couldn't handle human weapons that existed in multiple dimensions at once. "Target their command station," Davis ordered. "Quantum torpedoes full spread." The alien command center, a massive space station orbiting their capital world, simply ceased to exist as human weapons tore holes in reality itself. Without central coordination, the remaining alien defenses fought as individual units instead of a unified system. Dr. Rachel Webb monitored the battle from her position aboard the Constitution. As humanity's leading expert on alien technology, she was recording everything for future study. What she saw amazed even her. "Admiral, the alien defenses are using the same basic principles they had 60 years ago," she reported. "They haven't improved their military technology at all during that time. They've been relying on numerical superiority instead of innovation. This was the key to human victory. While the Zephyrian Empire had grown comfortable with their dominance, humanity had spent decades developing new weapons and tactics. Human technology had advanced far beyond anything the aliens possessed. On the surface of the Zephyrian capital world, panic spread through the alien population. Massive human ships moved through their atmosphere, precisely destroying military installations while leaving civilian areas untouched. The aliens realized that the humans could have destroyed their entire planet, but were choosing not to. Message was clear: surrender or face complete annihilation. Similar scenes played out across all 12 Zephyrian homeworlds. Human fleets appeared without warning, destroyed local defenses with contemptuous ease, and then waited for surrender. The coordination was perfect. Every attack happened at exactly the same time, preventing any alien world from helping the others. Captain Tim Walsh commanded the fleet attacking the Zephyrian military shipyards. His ships moved through the construction facilities like a precision strike force, targeting fusion reactors and weapon manufacturing plants. Within hours, the aliens lost their ability to build new warships. "Sir, the shipyard commanders are requesting permission to surrender," his communications officer reported. "Tell them to power down all facilities and prepare to be boarded. We're taking control of their entire military-industrial complex." On another world, Major Lisa Brown's Marine unit secured alien government buildings. Her soldiers moved through alien corridors with practiced efficiency, capturing officials and seizing important documents. The humans wanted to understand exactly how the Zephyrian Empire operated. "Priority targets are their military command structure and communication centers," she told her troops. "We need to cut off their ability to coordinate any resistance." The speed of human operations stunned the aliens. Within 12 hours of the first attack, every major Zephyrian military installation had been destroyed or captured. Their government buildings were under human control. Their leaders were prisoners. Their fleets were either destroyed or surrendering. Supreme Chancellor Kexdal sat in his office watching human ships patrol outside his windows. His empire, built over 2 centuries of conquest, had been shattered in a single day. The humans had demonstrated military capabilities that made Zephyrian technology look primitive by comparison. A human officer entered his office, flanked by 2 armed Marines. The alien leader recognized him as Admiral Carter from the intelligence. "Reports, Chancellor Kexdal," Admiral Carter said in perfect Zephyrian language. "I'm here to discuss terms for your empire's surrender." The alien leader stared at the human in shock. "You learned our language?" "We've been studying your civilization for 60 years. We know more about your empire than you know about us. That's why you lost." Admiral Carter placed a document on the alien's desk. The terms were written in multiple languages, showing just how thoroughly humans had prepared for this moment. "You will withdraw from all conquered territories immediately. Your military will be reduced to planetary defense forces only. You will pay reparations for the unprovoked attack on Earth. And you will establish formal diplomatic relations with humanity." Kexdal read the terms carefully. They were strict, but not impossible. The humans could have demanded complete surrender and occupation, but they were offering a chance for the Empire to continue existing. "What if we refuse?" the alien asked. Admiral Carter gestured toward the window, where human warships filled the sky. "Then we continue this demonstration on every world in your empire. Your choice." Across the 12 Zephyrian worlds, similar conversations were taking place. Human commanders were offering the same terms to every alien government: surrender and accept the new reality, or face complete destruction. The aliens chose surrender. 3 days later, representatives from all 12 Zephyrian worlds signed the Terra Accords in a ceremony broadcast across the galaxy. The document established humanity as the dominant military power in this region of space and set the terms for peaceful coexistence. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of the Constitution as the human fleet prepared to return to Earth. The mission had been a complete success. The aliens who had thought Earth was a primitive world now understood the truth. "Sir, incoming transmission from Earth," his communications officer reported. "President Adams wants to congratulate the fleet on a job well done." Carter smiled as he looked out at the alien worlds below. The Zephyrian Empire would never again make the mistake of underestimating humanity. Word would spread to other alien civilizations about what happened when someone threatened Earth. "Signal the fleet," he ordered. "Set course for home. Our work here is finished." As the human ships prepared to enter quantum space, alien observers throughout the galaxy received a clear message. Earth was no longer a primitive world hiding in the darkness. It was a military superpower that had been quietly preparing for this moment for generations. The galaxy would never be the same.